Hey everyone, I'm Emily Fraser. Long time no see. It's been a little while since the last update. I have some fun news about Gallerie, some general updates, and a little idea of where we're going to in the future. So, as you can see by what's on your screen, things are coming together rather nicely. We finally got some artwork in here, some beautiful pieces. This one's by Fleabite. There's some other great artists that are going to be in here that have now agreed and been paid and given their okay to include the work in the test document. So I'm really excited to see a lot of that coming in. Both books, as mentioned before, are in a current workable state. Something dramatic did happen not too long ago. I ended up going back and redoing the whole system. Yay! Sounds dramatic, right? This actually isn't all that terribly uncommon. Sometimes this is just sort of the nature of cyclical like design. I can't just start with a scratch document. It kind of needs to get put together into its form to see how people are reading the book, to see how people are absorbing it, and then I need to play on both sides of the game. I need to play as running it, and I need to get to play as a player to really see how things are behaving. And when I got a chance to do that as a player not too long ago, I kind of decided that the system that the game was using, which was an adapted version of HSD's system, really didn't fit Gallery very well. I think this is a thing that comes out of a lot of different game design, probably tabletops, maybe more than others, because in tabletop, the players really get to interact with the system a whole lot. That is running their simulation, right? We are the rendering engine for the simulation, as opposed to like a computer rendering the simulation that we're in. The system contributes heavily to the gameplay, not just in terms of what clunkiness you're going through, but also the way you roll dice, the things you're testing for, the way you manipulate different objects while you're running the system are part of the narrative. They speak to how the system and the game function together. HSD was built to be a more complex system, like it's a bit more granular than a lot of other games, and this was done deliberately. As somebody who just has a lot of history in the wargaming side of tabletop, and also somebody who just likes tabletop strategy, I wanted to make that system allow people to make a lot of kind of significant and granular choices so that every one of their builds could be different in ways that are like unique and different. So your body type matters, your weapons choices matter, the way that you use them matters, how you customize them matters, your ammunition matters. And I didn't want to bog it down with too much stuff. I know it sounds like a lot, but it runs pretty smoothly if you've ever played HSD before. But I did want to make it so that each of those choices were contributing to the flavor of your overall kind of like a simulation in game when you were fighting or engaging in different tasks. So it's kind of chunky. It's got a lot of density to it. And ultimately, that was not the goal with Gallery. Gallery is intended to be an extremely narrative-driven game. The narratives that it gets to are often kind of rough, have to do with a lot of different interactions with organizations that have caused you probably significant emotional harm or physical harm, and probably have a great deal of catharsis in the combat against said enemies. So there has to be a combat system. But ultimately, the density of it doesn't really need to be that heavy. The game runs best if people can make their decisions via the random dice mechanic very quickly and move on. More time talking, less time doing math. And each individual pick really isn't all that important because the game isn't intending to be a combat simulator. It just happens to be a game that has combat in it. So I went back from scratch and rebuilt the entire check system and combat system through several different tests and ended up with something that runs way quicker, way smoother, has much less kind of going on in terms of additional thoughts you have to compute through. Everything's kind of driven by your abilities. The dice system's, very fast, very simple addition. And so far in the tests that we've been doing since, it has been a night and day improvement for what Gallery wants to be. The whole idea behind this game was to create something that people could pick up and play very, very quickly. Character generation in Gallery takes like 2 minutes. There's no mathematical decisions to make. It's really just kind of an interview between you and the GM. Or the guide, as the verb is we keep the name that we keep using for this one. And it just kind of runs very quickly on that idea. I actually made one with my girlfriend the other day while we were sitting at a restaurant eating burgers. I was just like, hey, let's make a character. No dice involved, didn't bring any supplies, didn't bring any paper, didn't bring anything. And it went fine. 10 minutes later, somebody who had never touched the system before in her life had a fully functional character. And we could have started playing right there. the randomness of dice afterward might have been a little tricky, but it could have worked. And in light of the idea that that was the way this game was built from the onset, it didn't make a lot of sense to me that the granularity of HSD's check system was still in it, because it took something that was extremely simple to start and made it heavier to kind of get into, and I didn't want that. So now we have a system that runs much faster, and people who don't have a lot of experience or any experience in this area can get into it very quickly, hopefully with guides that have also not had a lot of experience in it. I would love it if people who just haven't played RPGs before can hop into these games and get to enjoy Gallerie for what it is. So this doesn't negate the videos that I made earlier. Obviously, those videos have been made over a long period of time, so some stuff has changed. But by and large, the content per chapter, like this is what's in this chapter, is pretty much the same. It's just sort of like the math. the system in chapters have changed, and as such, the page count's diminished, and the game's just kind of gotten lighter, which I think is of benefit to all of us. So, this would be my little update on that. And I think the next video I'm going to do is a new character generation video where we just build one together from scratch. I have one of those already in the collection, but it's from a long time back, and we have a nice shiny book here that we can work with, and we can make a new one. And it'll be quick and easy, and by the end of it, you'll have a functional character.